Prisons are also starting to release January 6 participants after the president's acts of clemency.
As of this morning, all of the more than 200 people held in federal prison for January 6 related crimes have been released. Some of those are local here. 5 News reporter Lauren Spencer joins us now after speaking with one of those defendants tonight. Lauren.
Yeah, following the January 6th attack on the Capitol 4 years ago, hundreds of people have been convicted for their involvement. We now know of at least 3 local Arkansans who were charged that have now been pardoned by President Trump.
The Federal Bureau of Prisons says Richard Barnett from Gravette was released on Monday night after President Trump pardoned him. A federal judge called him the face of January 6th, referring to the photo of him with his legs propped up on Nancy Pelosi's desk. He was found guilty and sentenced to 4.5 years in prison. David Michael Camden of Taneytown pleaded guilty to assaulting, resisting of impeding officers. He was sentenced to a year in prison, followed by a year of supervised release. Documents say Camden was seen on surveillance cameras deploying a fire extinguisher towards a line of police officers and waving a 3 Percenters flag, which court documents call an American far-right anti-government militia. Camden's attorney confirmed his client was included in President Trump's pardon. Last month, Nathan Hughes from Bentonville was sentenced to 25 months in prison, 3 years of supervised release, and a $5,000 fine after pleading guilty to his role in the January 6th attack. We talked to him on Tuesday evening. He says he was pardoned by President Trump, which means he will not serve any part of his sentence.
It was a weight lifted off. It was the feeling that, justice was served.
Hughes pleaded guilty to 2 felony offenses and a misdemeanor. The U.S. Attorney's Office says he, quote, used his elbow to strike that police officer before striking the officer twice with his fist.
Our plan was, going into trial to, hey, we got to plead guilty because the prosecutor wanted me to plead guilty to assaulting a police officer, and I wholeheartedly did not do that, right? So, going in there, I'm like, I'm fully prepared to go to prison if Trump loses, but I went in with the intention that, hey, I think Trump's going to win. I'm going to plead guilty and accept responsibility for my actions, and luckily Trump won.
The FBI says Hughes was seen in security footage pushing against Capitol Police, removing their riot shields and passing them back to other rioters. We asked Hughes if he has any regrets.
I accept responsibility for it, and I'm proud of it. I'm glad that I was there. I would go there again tomorrow.
The Justice Department says more than 140 police officers were assaulted that day. 4 officers who responded to the Capitol that day died by suicide within 7 months of the insurrection. And Officer Brian Sicknick died from natural causes after suffering from strokes after engaging with the protesters, according to a medical examiner. A Trump supporter who was also inside the Capitol was shot and killed by an officer as she was trying to break through the door of the Speaker's lobby while House members were evacuating. We reached out to Congressman Steve Womack on his reaction to the pardons. He said, quote, "It's the president's prerogative to pardon criminal behavior. It's no surprise that he followed through on a campaign and promised to issue blanket pardons for the Capitol riot on January 6, 2021. I do not condone this type of violence and feel that those involved in the violent assault on law enforcement or the vandalism of the U.S. Capitol should remain accountable for their actions. It was a dark day in American history, and such egregious conduct cannot and should not be tolerated, but we need to focus on the future of this great nation. We have major issues facing America, and we must take advantage of the unique opportunity to deliver conservative wins in a Republican-controlled Washington." Lauren Spencer, 5 News.